Hello, hello, welcome to the channel. I was looking through Wall Street Bets, APLC, and chill. I don't know what HPL, but anyway, I'm just gonna say this guy, okay? I don't know if it's a they or a she but I'm just make it easy for me, okay? I don't mean anything personal by it. Anyway, he's asking if he's after should hold, and he bought SPY puts, $500 SPY puts on the 22nd, and he's down 50% right now. So he bought those puts here on Tuesday, which might make sense, right? You have an up day. I don't know if he did it at the end of the day, and you're kind of guessing next day is going to be a down day. But usually, if you do that, you just do just a few days. But I guess he's pretty smart. The one thing he did do right. The one thing he did right was he bought longer dated puts, which means that he's smarter than like 90% of people on Wall Street Bets because it wasn't a zero DTE. So I'll give him that. And first of all, I don't know what I'm talking about. Neither does anybody else. Everyone's got a guess, but no one really knows what the future holds. Okay. So this is just for entertainment purposes only. It's not financial advice. But if you look at this bar here on the 9th, this is what people call kind of a control bar. This bar is in control. And until Friday, at the very end of the day, this bar controlled all the activity. Nothing went above it, nothing went below it. Right. And now you see you're pushing above into this range where maybe it'll go as high as 576, or it could just take back down. Because really, right now, the issue is everything's driven by news. It's what the president's saying. He says this, says that. It goes up, it goes down. I'm not going to get into politics about right or wrong, or if he knows what he's doing, or anything like that. But it's just news driven right now. And so something is entirely possible where something can be said. But the other thing, though, is this week we're going to have earnings news from some of the bigger companies. So you're going to get a better idea of what the economy is doing, which, the stock market is forward looking. So if markets are seeing that we're going to have some tough economic times, we could drop. And so it's entirely possible we could dip back down. Okay. But the one thing I want you to think about, HPL, is this is if we drop an anchored VWAP on the worst day of this tariff driven thing, you're going to see that this was the day that he came out with news. I think he kind of saved the market a bit, I think. But at the same time, people who wanted to get out were getting out, right? People are like, I'm out of here at 480. They're like, I'm just done. All right. I'm going to save my 401k, my retirement. I'm getting out. And some people bought. But since this day, you're going to see that the average price for people that have bought in, it's like around 523 or so, 520, right? Let's just call it 520. So at this point, this is going to probably be some sort of a level of support. People who got in here, well, for sure, they're not going to take a loss if they're a short-term trader. But if you're a longer-term trader, you're thinking like, okay, this is kind of maybe possibly the floor now for a while. Doesn't mean it can't crash, right? We look at the I'm not saying this is perfectly analytic comparable to what happened in 2008, but you see markets where it crashed out, it popped up, it crashed back down again. It'll have movements, right? So, within this was November, late December, that was like 4 months span, right? All news and economic driven though. So I'm not saying it's not possible in the next 2 months the market could tank down and you could get out, right? But I am saying that if you look at these like short-term moving indicators, averages, right? They're kind of stabilized, peeling up. Look at RSI. We're not oversold, overbought, right? We're oversold here on this day, right? Overbought is kind of closer to here, over here. You can see it was overbought. It kind of peeled down. I'm not saying it's a perfect indicator, but it is one that people do use. So it could go either way, but it does seem like those who wanted to get out got out. Those who wanted to stay stayed, or they bought more. And if they bought down here, they'll probably be buying here again. But there's things are probably possibly stacked against you. All right, even a 10% drop, maybe it'll get you there. But really, it's just all headline news right now. And so you got to keep that in mind. And I recommend you look up something called the Zweig breath thrust. I don't want to go into the details of it because I can't really perfectly explain it very well. But there's so much momentum right now to the upside that they do say that historically, market generally is up over time after such an event. But you can look that up. I don't want to go into it because I don't really know it that well. I'm just regurgitating what I just read. But I recommend you take a look at the Zweig breath thrust. Uh, Once again, this is just for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning like everybody else. I just started trading just a couple of a few years ago, and it's taken a long time to get some education. I wish you the best of luck on your trade, but once again, just don't blame me for your decision. I'm just trying to be helpful and pointing out to you some things uh, that I've learned by watching others who know much more than me discuss and walk through some of the logic. But I made this video just for you to help out. Good luck to you.